My girlfriend said, "I'm moving out, but keeping the apartment since my name's on the lease." I said, "Makes sense." Then I removed every single item I'd paid for: furniture, TV, kitchen appliances. When she walked into her apartment, it was just 4 empty walls and her clothes. Original post, I, 34M, have been with Chelsea, 31F, for 3 years. We got engaged 6 months ago and moved in together about 2 years back into this really nice 2-bedroom place downtown. Important detail: her credit was stellar. Mine was still recovering from some medical debt after a surgery in my late 20s. So the lease went in her name only. But here's the thing: I paid the security deposit, $20,400, first month's rent, and furnished the entire place since she was switching jobs when we moved in. We're talking $12,000 in furniture from West Elm, kitchen appliances, the works. We had a joint savings account for the wedding with about $8,500 in it. I was contributing about 70% of our monthly expenses, while she handled just the rent. Last Tuesday, she sits me down with this serious expression. "Brandon, we need to talk about us." Never a good start, right? I've been doing some thinking, and I don't think this is working anymore. I need to explore who I am without being in a relationship. Fine, breakups happen. I'm an adult. 3 years is a long time, but people grow apart. But here's where it gets interesting. She continues, "Since the lease is in my name, I'll be keeping the apartment. You need to move out by the end of the month." I sat there processing. "So, you're breaking up with me and evicting me?" "I'm not evicting you. I'm just exercising my legal right to the apartment. It's nothing personal, Brandon. Nothing personal. She's making me homeless, and it's nothing personal." "What about all the furniture, the TV, everything I bought?" She actually laughed. "Well, it's in the apartment, so it stays with the apartment. Don't be petty about some furniture." I looked around. The 2,800 sectional couch I bought, the 65-inch OLED TV, the entire kitchen setup, KitchenAid mixer, Instant Pot, that $400 espresso machine she used every morning, my home office setup, the bedroom furniture set. Even the shower curtain was mine. "Makes sense," I said. She smiled, thinking she'd won. "I knew you'd be mature about this." That was Tuesday evening. Little did she know, I'd already been suspicious for weeks. See, about a month ago, I noticed Chelsea being secretive with her phone. Then last week, while we were watching Netflix on our shared iPad, a notification popped up. A message from her boss, Kevin. "Can't wait for this weekend, babe. Finally having you all to myself." I didn't say anything, just screenshotted it and started paying attention. Turns out they'd been planning this for months. She was going to move in with him, but needed me out first. The finding herself speech was complete bullshit. But here's the kicker. When I checked our joint account, Wednesday morning, it was empty. She'd withdrawn the entire $8,500  2 weeks ago, 2 weeks before breaking up with me. This woman had planned everything: the breakup, the apartment grab, cleaning out our wedding fund. She thought she had me completely played. Wednesday morning, I took a sick day from work. Chelsea left for her job at 8 a.m., giving me a patronizing kiss on the forehead like I was a child who'd accepted his punishment. The second her car left the parking lot, I called my buddy Danny, who owns a moving company. "Danny, I need your biggest truck and 2 guys. Today, I'll pay cash." "Everything okay, man?" "Chelsea's keeping the apartment because her name's on the lease, so I'm taking everything that's mine. Everything." Danny showed up at 10 a.m. with 2 movers and a truck that could handle a 4-bedroom house. I had receipts for everything. I keep meticulous records. Started with the obvious stuff: the entire living room set, dining table and chairs, the TV and entertainment center, the bedroom furniture. Then, I really thought about it. She said, "Everything in the apartment stays with the apartment." Cool. Let's define everything. All the kitchen appliances I bought: microwave, toaster, blender, air fryer, that expensive espresso machine she couldn't live without, the rugs, every single one, the curtains and blinds that replaced the terrible ones that came with the place, all the pots, pans, dishes, silverware, mine, the bathroom accessories, shower caddy, medicine cabinet organizer, even the toilet brush holder, the smart home devices, Nest thermostat, Ring doorbell, all the smart bulbs, the mesh router system I installed because the building's Wi-Fi was garbage. I even took the nice wooden hangers from the closets and left her the wire ones. The movers thought it was hilarious. Damn, dude, you really bought everything. Yep, and now I'm taking it all. By 2 p.m., the apartment looked like a model unit before staging. Just white walls, basic fixtures, and carpet. I left her clothes neatly folded on the floor where the bed used to be. I took the bed frame but left the mattress. It was hers from before we met. I'd already secured a new place across town. Found a nice one-bedroom that was available immediately. Yeah, it's smaller, but it's mine. And crucially, I'd had the Ring doorbell recording everything as we loaded each item, receipts clearly visible for the camera. Texted Chelsea at 5 p.m. Moved out as requested. Keys are on the kitchen counter. She texted back. Thanks for being mature about this, Brandon. Oh, sweetheart. Just wait. 6:47 p.m. My phone explodes. First, a string of texts. What the hell did you do? Where is everything? This is theft. You can't do this. I'm calling the police. Then she tried calling 31 times in a row. I didn't answer. Then came the voicemail I saved for posterity. Brandon, you psychotic piece of trash. You took everything. There's nothing here. Not even a fork. Where am I? Supposed to sleep? What am I supposed to eat with? You even took the toilet paper holder. Call me back right now, or I'm calling the cops. I texted back once. I took my belongings as requested. The apartment is all yours now. Enjoy exploring who you are. She actually did call the cops. They showed up at my new place around 9 p.m. I was ready. Sir, we got a complaint about stolen property. Officers, I have receipts for everything I moved today. Ring doorbell footage of the move, and text messages where she told me to vacate the apartment. Would you like to see them? I showed them everything. The receipts totaling $12,000. The footage showing me peacefully moving my own possessions. Her text saying the apartment was hers and I needed to leave. So you took your property from an apartment you were told to vacate? The older cop asked. Exactly. He actually chuckled. Sir, this is a civil matter. You can't steal your own property. Ma'am needs to take this up in small claims court if she has an issue. They left. Chelsea called screaming about how I'd manipulated the cops. I hung up and blocked her number. Thursday morning, I get a call from building management. Apparently, Chelsea called them hysterical, claiming I'd vandalized the apartment. Mr. Wells, we need to discuss the apartment situation. I moved out as requested by Ms. Morrison. Is there damage? No, it's in perfect condition. Better than most move-outs, actually. But Ms. Morrison is claiming you stole fixtures. I took my personal belongings. I have receipts for everything. The apartment still has all its original fixtures. The thermostat? I installed a smart one. I returned the original from my storage closet. It's back on the wall. The blinds? Replaced mine with the originals I'd saved. They belong to the apartment. There was a pause. Mr. Wells, I have to say, I've never seen anyone document a move-out this thoroughly. Turns out Chelsea tried to claim I'd stolen apartment property to get me charged with theft. Instead, management informed her that since only her name is on the lease, she's responsible for any damages or missing items when she eventually moves out. Friday, the social media war started. Chelsea unblocked me just to send screenshots of her posts. Some men really can't handle rejection. Imagine being so vindictive that you strip an entire apartment because your fragile ego got hurt. Starting over, but stronger than ever. Narcissist X, our toxic men. Her friends were eating it up. Comments like, you deserve better, and what a man-child, and this is financial abuse. So I posted my own update. Just 3 photos. 1, the stack of receipts totaling $12,000. 2, a screenshot of her text. Everything in the apartment stays with the apartment. 3, a photo of my new place, fully furnished, captioned, when she keeps the apartment, but you keep everything else. My stuff, my choice. My post got shared way more than hers. Turns out people love justice stories. But Chelsea wasn't done. Saturday morning, I get a text from an unknown number, her friend Monica. Chelsea is staying with me because she has nowhere to sleep. You left her with nothing. She had to sleep on the floor the first night. How can you be so heartless? She has a mattress and all her clothes. I only took what I paid for. She can't even make coffee. You took the coffee maker. I bought the coffee maker. I have the receipt. Normal people don't do this. You're supposed to split things when you break up. She said everything stays with the apartment, then clarified that meant my stuff too. I disagreed and took my belongings. You're a monster. She's going to sue you. Cool. I have receipts. Then came the call from Chelsea's dad, Charles. Now, Charles is a straight shooter, retired military, owns a small construction company. I always respected him. Brandon, what the hell happened? Chelsea is hysterical. She broke up with me and told me to move out because the lease is in her name. So I moved out and took my belongings. She says you took everything, even basic household items. I did. I bought them. I have receipts for everything. But son, where is she supposed to live now? In the apartment she wanted to keep Charles. That's what she chose. Long pause. How much did you spend on all that furniture? About $12,000 over 2 years, plus the deposits and setup costs. Another pause. And she expected you to just leave it? Yes, sir. Well, that was short-sighted of her. What about the money you two were saving? She withdrew all $8,500 from our joint account 2 weeks before breaking up with me. The line went quiet for a full minute. She did what? Cleaned out our wedding fund before she even told me we were breaking up. Jesus Christ. Charles sounded disgusted. Brandon, I owe you an apology. We raised her better than this. The call ended with Charles saying he needed to have a serious conversation with his daughter about realistic expectations and basic decency. Saturday morning, 7 a.m. Pounding on my door. Not knocking, pounding. I checked the Ring doorbell I'd installed at my new place. It's Chelsea with 2 large men I don't recognize. Can I help you? I called through the door. Open this door right now. We're getting my stuff. Your stuff isn't here. The furniture is mine. We live together. It's communal property. We weren't married. I have receipts. Please leave. One of the men stepped forward. Just open the door, man. Let's sort this out. Sir, I don't know you. I'm calling the police if you don't leave. Go ahead. I'll tell them you stole from me. So I did. Told dispatch there were 3 people attempting to force entry to my apartment, making threats. Cops arrived in 8 minutes. I showed them the doorbell footage of the pounding and threats. The officer asked Chelsea, Ma'am, do you have proof this property is yours? We live together. It's common law. This state doesn't recognize common law marriage. Do you have receipts showing ownership? He has the receipts, but it was bought for us. Ma'am, without proof of ownership, you need to leave. This is harassment. The 2 men, turns out they were her cousins, apologized to me directly. One of them said, she told us you robbed her blind. I showed them the receipts on my phone. They looked disgusted and left without her. Chelsea had to get an Uber home, but the best part happened Monday. I get a call from Monica, the friend who'd been defending Chelsea. Brandon, weird question. When you and Chelsea first got together, did she already have a furnished apartment? No, she was living with her parents, saving money. Why? She told me the apartment came fully furnished and she was doing me a favor, letting me move into such a nice place next month. My blood ran cold. She was going to charge you extra for furnished? Yeah, $400 more per month for what she called premium furnished living. Said it was all high-end furniture she'd invested in. She was going to rent out my furniture to her friend for an extra $400 a month. My furniture that cost me $12,000. Monica, I furnished that entire apartment. Every stick of furniture, every appliance, every decorative item. That bitch, thanks for the heads up. Monica not only backed out of moving in, she told their entire friend group about Chelsea's plan to profit off my furniture. 3 weeks after the breakup, I get served with small claims court papers. Chelsea is suing me for theft of communal property, emotional distress, and loss of peaceful enjoyment of residence. She's asking for $8,000. I hired a lawyer friend for a consultation. He looked at the paperwork and laughed. Brandon, she has no case. You have receipts. She has texts admitting the apartment is hers alone, and she told you to leave. This is going to be embarrassing for her. Court day arrives. Chelsea shows up in a business suit like she's arguing before the Supreme Court. I'm in khakis and a polo. My lawyer said to look responsible but not overdressed. The judge reviews the case. Chelsea goes first. Your Honor, we built a life together for 3 years. Everything in that apartment was ours as a couple. He vindictively stripped it bare out of spite, leaving me with nothing and causing severe emotional distress. Miss Morrison, were you and the defendant married? No, but did you have any written agreement about shared property? No, but there was an understanding. I'll hear from the defendant. My lawyer stands up. Your Honor, my client has receipts for every item totaling $12,000. He has text messages from the plaintiff stating the apartment was hers alone and he needed to vacate. He has Ring doorbell footage of him peacefully removing his belongings during daytime hours. The plaintiff called police who determined no crime was committed. The judge reviews our evidence. Ms. Morrison, did you send this text saying, "The apartment is mine. You need to move out"? Yes, but did you tell him, and I quote, "everything in the apartment stays with the apartment"? Yes, but I meant, did you or did you not say that? Yes. Case dismissed. The defendant removed his personal property from a residence he was told to vacate. Plaintiff owes court costs. Chelsea starts crying. This isn't fair. You left me with nothing. Ma'am, you left yourself with nothing when you assumed someone else's property was yours. Next case. Outside the courthouse, I notice Charles waiting by his truck. He doesn't approach Chelsea, who's still crying on the courthouse steps. Instead, he walks directly to me. Brandon, I want to apologize again for my daughter's behavior. What she did was inexcusable. I appreciate that, Charles. I also want you to know we've cut off her credit cards and told her she needs to support herself for a full year before we'll even consider helping with anything again. She's in therapy twice a week now. Chelsea notices us talking and storms over. Dad, whose side are you on? The side that didn't steal $8,500 from someone who loved them, Charles replied coldly. The side that didn't try to claim other people's furniture as rent income, the side that has some basic integrity left. They left arguing. I could hear Chelsea screaming at her father all the way to the parking lot. It's been 4 months now. Here's how it all shook out. Chelsea got evicted after 3 months. Couldn't afford the $2,100 rent without my contribution to household expenses. She tried to get Kevin to move in with her, but apparently his wife found out about the affair, and he chose to work on his marriage instead. Chelsea never mentioned he was married, but my lawyer found that out during discovery for the court case. Kevin ended up transferring departments at work to avoid the drama, and Chelsea was left with no promotion prospects and a reputation for sleeping with married supervisors. She moved back in with her parents, who made her get a job at a customer service center and pay them $600 monthly rent. Charles told me she hated it, but they weren't budging. Character building, he called it. Her relationship with her friend group imploded when Monica spread the word about the furniture scam. Even the friends who initially supported her started distancing themselves when they learned about the joint account theft. Most of them said they couldn't trust someone who'd steal from their own fiancée. Chelsea tried using dating apps with photos from our old apartment to look successful, but someone recognized the place and tagged me in the comments. Isn't this the place you had to strip empty because she tried to steal your stuff? Her profile got roasted so hard, she deleted it and gave up on dating apps entirely. Meanwhile, my life improved dramatically. Without the relationship drama and financial stress, my performance at work skyrocketed. I got a promotion to senior project manager with a 15% salary bump. My boss said I seemed more focused and decisive. Turns out not having someone drain your bank account and emotional energy does wonders for productivity. I moved to a better apartment, a spacious 1-bedroom in a newer building with actual amenities. No shared lease this time. Everything in my name, everything paid by me. About 2 months after the court case, I started dating Lindsay, a dental hygienist I met at my gym. She owns her own condo, drives a car she bought herself, and when we went to dinner the first time, she insisted on splitting the check. I pay my own way, she said with a smile. Less complicated that way. Lindsay thinks the whole Chelsea situation is hilarious. When I told her about the espresso machine, she said, "So, you're telling me your ex-fiancé is drinking instant coffee at her parents' house while plotting revenge, and you're here making perfect lattes every morning? That's beautiful karma." She was right. Every morning when I use that $400 espresso machine, I think about Chelsea probably drinking Folgers from a cheap coffee maker, and I smile. It's petty, but I've earned my pettiness. Charles still texts me occasionally to check in. Last week he sent, "Chelsea's doing better in therapy, learning about consequences and accountability. Thanks for being the wake-up call she needed." I replied, "Glad to hear she's working on herself." The building manager, Mr. Peterson, told me they immediately rented Chelsea's old place to a young married couple who actually messaged me on Facebook. They'd found my name on some old mail and heard about the empty apartment mystery from other tenants. When I sent them the link to my original social media post, they said it was the best apartment drama they'd ever heard. Last week, Chelsea texted me from a new number. I know you hate me, but I wanted you to know you really hurt me. I thought we were building something together. I stared at that message for a while before responding. We were. Then you decided to keep what we built and kick me out. How'd that work out for you? You're heartless. I blocked that number too. But you know what? I'm not heartless. I'm just done being anyone's safety net while they explore other options. Chelsea had every opportunity to handle our breakup like an adult. She could have said, Brandon, I'm not happy. Let's figure out how to split things fairly and both move on. Instead, she chose manipulation, theft, and entitlement. The wedding deposits we'd put down, $200 total, were non-refundable. I lost my half, but so did she when she cleaned out our joint account. The venue coordinator called me when Chelsea never showed up to finalize details. I explained we'd broken up and wouldn't be needing their services. She sounded relieved and said she'd had a bad feeling about Chelsea during their previous meetings. My coworkers noticed the change in me too. Jennifer from HR mentioned that I seemed lighter and more engaged during meetings. When I told my close work friends about the situation, they were unanimously supportive. My manager Dave said, "Good for you for standing up for yourself. Too many people let others walk all over them financially." The funny thing is, Chelsea's plan might have worked with someone else. Someone who didn't keep receipts, who didn't think to document everything, who would have just walked away defeated. She'd probably done similar things before. Her cousin's comment about this not being the first time suggested a pattern. But I learned something important about myself through all this. I have boundaries, and I'm willing to enforce them, even when it's uncomfortable. Growing up, my parents taught me to keep the peace and be the bigger person, which usually meant letting others take advantage of me. This was the first time I'd ever really stood my ground when someone tried to financially manipulate me. Lindsay and I have been together 4 months now, and it's refreshing to be with someone who has her own life together. She owns a 3-bedroom condo she bought herself, drives a paid-off Honda Civic, and has a healthy savings account. When I mentioned my situation with Chelsea, she laughed and said, "So basically she tried to steal $12,000 worth of furniture and got surprised when you said no? That's not heartless, that's common sense." We went furniture shopping together last month for my new place. Just browsing, no pressure. Lindsay pointed out a dining set she liked, then immediately said, "But this is your place, your choice. I'm just enjoying the window shopping." The contrast with Chelsea, who used to demand input on everything I bought for us, was stark. Charles continues to update me occasionally on Chelsea's progress. According to him, she's starting to understand the consequences of her actions, but it's been a slow process. She apparently had a complete breakdown when she realized Kevin wasn't leaving his wife, and that's when her parents insisted on therapy. She's learning that actions have consequences, Charles told me last month. Should have learned that at 15, but better late than never. Helen, Chelsea's mom, ran into me at the grocery store a few weeks ago. She looked embarrassed, but approached anyway. "Brandon, I want you to know how sorry we are about everything. We didn't raise her to be like that." "I know you didn't, Helen. Charles has been very supportive. She's getting help, but I wanted you to know that what she did was inexcusable. Taking that money from your joint account before she even broke up with you? That's just theft." It was good to hear, honestly. I'd always liked her parents, and I was glad they weren't enabling her behavior. The best vindication came unexpectedly 3 months ago. I was having lunch at a restaurant downtown when Kevin, Chelsea's former boss and affair partner, approached my table. He looked terrible, stressed, exhausted. "Brandon, right, I owe you an apology." I gestured to the chair across from me. "Sit. Chelsea told me you were controlling and financially abusive, said you wouldn't let her have any independence. I believed her because..." He rubbed his face. "Because I wanted to believe her. Made me feel better about what we were doing. And now? Now I know she was lying. My wife found out about the affair. We almost divorced. And during counseling, the whole truth came out. Chelsea had been planning to leave you for months, had already taken your savings, and was looking for someone to bankroll her lifestyle transition. I was just the convenient choice." I nodded. "Did you know about the joint account?" "Not until my wife's lawyer started digging into everything. when we found out she'd stolen $8,500 from you 2 weeks before breaking up. Jesus, Brandon, I'm sorry. I enabled her hurting you because I thought I was rescuing her from a bad situation. How's your marriage? We're working on it. Therapy, transparency, the whole deal. I transferred departments to avoid any workplace drama, but I wanted to tell you that you handled everything exactly right. If someone had tried to steal from me what she stole from you, I would have done exactly the same thing. After he left, I sat there thinking about how Chelsea had managed to manipulate not just me, but Kevin, Monica, and initially even some of her own friends. She was genuinely skilled at playing victim while being the aggressor. But eventually, the truth came out. It always does. Looking back now, the whole thing cost me maybe $800 in moving expenses and lawyer consultation. Worth every penny to watch someone learn that you can't just claim other people's property because you want it. She wanted the apartment all to herself. She got exactly that. Just the apartment, nothing more, nothing less. And that espresso machine she used every morning, it makes amazing coffee in my new kitchen. Every morning when I use it, I think about how she's probably drinking instant coffee at her parents' house while learning about accountability and therapy, and I smile. Karma is a beautiful thing when you have receipts. The moral of the story. If someone tells you to leave but thinks they're keeping your stuff, take them at their word on the leaving part. But your stuff, that goes with you. Every single piece. Document everything. Keep receipts. Protect yourself. And never let entitled people convince you that standing up for yourself makes you the bad guy. Sometimes the best revenge is simply refusing to be a victim.